Hey guys, Loco here with Weldon after their victory. Hey Weldon, how's the win?
Feels very satisfying to win with Jayce, break the curse. It's great.
So,
The I was like terrified, just absolutely terrified until the very, very, very last engage when he like flash queued onto three people and murdered their backline. And still, as I was walking to stage, I like left the room and I was going to stage and I was thinking, okay, they have to be closing out the game right now. They just killed four people, but there was still this part in me that was like, I'm gonna get to stage and they're not gonna close out the game and they're gonna lose because it's Jayce. But yeah, we broke the curse. I'm so happy. Good job, Darshan.
how important is it for a team to play Jayce right now?
I guess he's a strong pick. That's what we've been finding out, and I think that, yeah, usually you see um, teams that are working up Jayce and able to play with it, or they have to ban it, or two teams are handshaking. That like neither of us play Jayce, so let's just not ban it and not play it. So yeah.
So a lot of people would say Jayce is almost like must play due to being first pickable, due to being flexible, due to how much priority he gives you top lane. Are you guys under the same assumption, or is it more so like he's good enough where we should play him? Do you guys see him as like absolutely OP must pick?
Well, I think it's like we don't want to be stuck in a situation where we're being abused by the meta because we can't play the strong meta picks. And so that's always when a team starts to run into trouble with draft and flexibility. Obviously, it's a little bit safer on blue side, but right now it seems like red side is stronger. Like teams that have side selection are opting for red side. Like, for example, Optic Gaming against us today. And I feel like we did that before too, because we didn't have first picks worked up, but we don't have that problem anymore. And I think it's because the work we put in on these picks that are first pickable that give you a big advantage. So I think it's probably important for most pro teams to make sure that they can play stuff that they can first pick. Otherwise, they're forced to not draft blue.
So let's talk about red side, blue side thing then. Historically, it's almost always better to pick blue side. I think historically the blue side win percent is at like 54% last I checked, and per patch it sometimes goes up to even 60%. So what are like the benefits of blue side compared to what are the benefits of red side?
Well, like if you look around right now, there's a lot more teams that are opting for red side, which is really different. Because I agree, like the statistics kind of like maybe even now it's blue side favored. I'm not even sure, but obviously the biggest difference is on red side you get the last pick, and so all of these flexes that you choose, I feel like teams can have a really really good blue side draft if they can flex stuff back and forth, and they can't if they don't. So then it's just not very safe. You're gonna get countered somewhere.
So then let's go to last week. I think last week is where a lot of the CLG fans and analysts had problem with CLG's decision making, most notably putting in auto instead of 6-day, or putting in auto and moon over 6-day and wiggly. So you guys went 0-2 that week. Now still possible to make playoff, but those 0-2 last week really, really hurt. Can we hear a little bit on why the roster was swapped out for last week?
We were trying to not go 0-2. That was the goal. So I think we had a decent chance of going 0-2, and I thought we had less of a chance of going 0-2. We were aiming to try to get like a 1-1 by doing the roster swap.
So my criticism for that would be, you guys, 6A was underperforming, but you guys had built up a period of synergy, a period of experience with 6A and Wiggly, and Moon and Otto are coming in with almost no experience on LCS stage and having to fill in for a really, really crucial week. So I felt like it was a little bit counterintuitive. Can I hear a little bit on why Moon and Otto gave you guys a better shot?
Yeah, so I think it's mostly around the auto pick. Like we wouldn't be able to do this at all if both Moon and Auto weren't really like capable plug and play players. So I think like we've actually been doing we did in-house scrims like throughout the entire season, and we've also had swaps like earlier in the split. And what we found is that we're not really a good enough team where synergy has enough of a like matters all that much. Like if you're optimizing at the top end and you're like competing against C9 and you lose that 1% difference, like synergy is just at this point not really relevant if you are just dying in lane over and over again, right? At that point, it's like, okay, so synergy or not, like we'd like to be able to play picks, that we can win with. So essentially, like Auto and Biofrost like kind of know each other, and they duo queue together, and they played together, and so it was really fast for them to build lane synergy. And at the same time, like Stixay was really wondering like where is our lane not functioning right? Because when we're looking at a bot lane that's like not doing too hot, you can never really tell. I mean, you can tell sometimes, right? But in our case, we couldn't tell which parts of it were Stixay being too aggressive when Vincent wasn't, or Vincent being too aggressive when Stixay wasn't, or like one of them being bad on a specific champ, or the other person, or the matchup. Like there's so many variables at play, and there's really no way to sort that out except to break up the duo and then see. So Stixay got to really good clarity over what he needs to work on when he was playing with Colin, and he was able to like teach Colin kind of like how he would want to play, and then take that learning back to Vincent, be like, okay, this is how we can play this better because this is what I want to do, and now I know. And it was the same with Auto. Like Biofrost figured out like, okay, well, if these things are going wrong and then they're still going wrong, then it's obviously not the AD carry, right? It's me. So that was really important, and I think that that's what like I think that we had maybe like a 5% better squad after we did the subs, and then I think that what happened was then we stepped up and we have like a 20% better squad now than if we had like kept it static and like crossed our fingers and hoped. So that was what we were really aiming for, and I think that like Stixay put in a ton of work that week and this week, just trying to sort this out because we like it's been coming to a head, for a while, and Biofrost did too, because he felt really that kind of like incrimination as well. Like, okay, well, let's really figure this out. And it was a really stressful 2 weeks, I think, for the players, for the coaching staff, for both squads. Auto doesn't want to come up and play 2 games and then get sent back down, But yeah, they're really standing out and they're really pushing through it.
So let's go back to the start of the absolute beginning of the split. What were the expectation for this CLG squad and this iteration?
We were going to try to make playoffs.
So you guys are right about there, not quite there yet, and we still don't know. There's 3 games left. This interview was done on Saturday of week 8, right? Week 8. So there's 3 games left. We don't know. What are your chances right now in terms of making playoffs?
Well, they're really good if the top teams close out their games, and we continue to perform as I hope that we can. Now, like, we're still performing better on stage when everybody's really focused than we are in training, but we adapted our training a lot this week to accommodate that, I think. And I think that the danger comes in if like Team Liquid and C9 and these really strong teams start, for example, subbing in B lineups because they don't really need these wins, or if they try different picks or try different styles or don't care as much and like drop games to our competitors, because we have a really like their strength of schedule for our opposing, like the opposing people competing for our spot is really tough. But that could be fallacious, right? If these top teams don't need the games, don't need the wins, and don't care as much. So that's mostly what I'm scared about.
Have you talked to the top teams about not putting in B squad?
It's too late. C9 subbed in Golden Glue, but thankfully I believe in him. You can do it. Do it for me. Crush those noobs.
But
pick Malzahar every game.
But he still thinks you're a B tier player. Let's talk about that.
I mean, there's an A and there's a B. It's just where you're sitting, right? It's not an identity.
So let's talk about that a little. Top teams putting in, let's say, their academy squad or their sub squad, and also even the absolute lowest tier teams, right? 100 Thieves and Echo Fox, they might feel like, I don't have anything to lose, so we're going to put in B tier squad. Do teams ever talk to each other and be like, please, can you guys not do this? Please, can you guys win for us? And is that conversation ever had?
So historically, this has never been a problem in League of Legends eSport. I've been waiting every season for stuff like this to happen, and it's really only happened like maybe a little bit with C9 when they were like clinching their victories. But like most teams are really selfish. They're like, we want the experience on our core roster. We want the training on our core roster. We really want to win. Winning is satisfying. Losing sucks. I don't want to not play. And so a lot of teams are not ever doing this kind of thing at the lower tier or the higher tier, at the end of the week. Especially high tier teams, they're like, we want to practice for playoffs, So that might benefit us too. But yeah, teams that are like super, super confident and really are all in on this kind of like developing players thing, like C9, they're like the highest risk for sure.
Do you think if you guys fail to make it out of playoffs, will we see CLG Academy players play?
You mean Next week?
Yeah, next week. If you guys are completely out.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Well, it's a coaching staff decision. So.
You are the head coach.
Yep. But it's the like, I'm not going to make that decision without talking to, obviously, the player development coach and the strategic coach.
Irene and Summer.
Yep, Irene and Summer.
So Summer is actually someone I work with. Can you explain her role on the team to people that might not know Summer and what she kind of does for the team? What is a player development coach?
Yeah, so she meets with the coaching staff, and she's a part of like our workshop trainings, like in the morning and during breaks. And then she's also doing one-on-ones with the players every single week. And during the one-on-one, they'll report stuff that is not working for them in the team. So there's another venue of reporting where like we'll get information of like what's struggling, and then she'll help them overcome struggles. Like during the substitution, for example, she met with players there, and obviously I did one-on-ones too, to talk to the players and get their feedback. And they even had like a full team, like 10-person meeting to give me feedback, which was really, really useful and interesting. But then she meets with them like one-on-one and has a like a development track. So, like what's your physical activity plan for the split? What's your nutrition plan for the split? What's your financial plan? What's your mental toughness building plan? And like she helps them track that and keep up with it and gets them resources for it too. And the fact that she's like a trained essentially sports psychology trainer is beneficial to her role in the developing the mental toughness part.
Cool. Well, then thank you for the interview. Any final words for CLG fan, Mind Game fans, Weldon fans?
So this might alienate half of the CLG fan base, especially you hardcore CLG fans. But if you can find it in yourself somehow, somewhere deep down, to cheer for TSM today against Golden Guardians, it would really help out our playoff chances. And I know this is a big reach, and if you want to start throwing rotten fruit at me, like feel free. But at least like secretly in your heart, burn a little prayer for them or something, and then make sure you cancel out all of that emotion tomorrow when we face them on the Rift.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the interview, Weldon. Thank you so much to Low Key Community for making this interview happen. If you guys want to support them, the link is going to be down in the bio.